Good morning. I'm hoping this is not going to fall. Good morning to all of those in replay. I'm going to wait to see, hey there, if anyone else comes in for a moment. Hey there. I am at my country property, and I've been sitting on this hill for a couple of hours reading. And so I wanted to share some stuff that is sometimes over my head, and it's by Henry Kissinger, a very smart individual. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's got a lot of wisdom on the world and the past world, and I wanted to share, and I put in my title the order that I want to talk in. So he has this book called World Order. Now, to break it down what an order is, basically it's how you're going to rule your country, your territory. And so there's been many types of orders, laws throughout the centuries, the millenniums, in different parts of the world. And so there's Islam and the way they order their business, their country, peace and war. And then there's the American Western world, how we and he talks about this. He talks about how the Americans, now he seems to leave out religion in the parts that I read. I didn't read the whole thing, so he may talk about it. Yep, we are. He talks about that, but not in those words. And so he talks about this one page, on page 31, the operation of the Westphalian system. I don't know if it's backwards for you, but you can take a screenshot and read it later if you want. You can, now, after the 30 years war in the European countries during the Dark Ages and all that, there was the Holy Roman Empire, they called it that, and then there was a meeting of the leaders, and it was the Westphalian system, the Westphalian treaty that was developed. And basically what they did was they took the Roman Empire and they broke it into sections. And then at that point, there were three religions. The 30 Years' War was started on religion, but it didn't end on religion. It ended because it transitioned into political power and order, how they were going to order their nations. And so basically the princes, the countries had monarchies, right? And so the princes were able to pick and choose from three different religions. There was Catholicism, Calvinism, and Lutheranism. And so they got to pick which one they were going to order. Now, there was a problem to that, and that is, well, maybe the people didn't agree with the type of order. And so, exactly, too much time and money on their hands, for sure. That is true. And they're the ones who are picking and choosing which order they're going to order us around with. And this whole book is about types of orders throughout the thousands of years, and the last couple of thousand at least. And so then I skip on back, right? I skim through, but then there's a conclusion chapter. World order in our time? ? And so he talks about the decades following World War II. And it's a lot of good information, but then he goes through, he summarizes it, and I don't want to get into the boring part, but he then talks about America and American strategy that we need to have in order to be relevant in the world, and figure out what type of order we're going to do and how we're going to implement the order that we want. And he says, here are some questions that he says that America has to ask itself in order to figure out what type of order we're going to impress on the world. Because we're the last superpower. And so it says the questions are, what do we seek to prevent? What do we seek to achieve? What do we seek? Oh, and he talks about that a couple of times. What do we seek to achieve? And he goes on to elaborate how he's asking those same questions. What do we not engage in? And then he says, above all, what is the nature of the values that we seek to advance? What applications depend in part on circumstance? And so it's a big experiment, and it has been seen as very successful type of order, because it sees people as, how did he word it? It sees people as being intellectual, and the greater majority seeks good. The greater majority doesn't want to be in war. And so he talks about how this type of order has been successful without major wars ravaging our country. We had the Civil War, but that's really and that's really the only war that we've had within ourselves. And then we were successful in fighting off the redcoats and gaining our independence. So that was at the beginning. But for the most part, we're pretty much a country that has been successful in maintaining a political balance, and that's what he talks about. It's key to maintain that order, whatever order the country is, by having a balance. And America has been successful, and everybody loves America pretty much. That's really not true, but anyways, they come over here, a lot of them. And so those questions, what do we seek to prevent? What do we do? Oh, and he also talks about, this was pretty interesting and important in this. He talks about, where was that? Where do we go from here? Subtitle, those were the questions. And I'm skimming through because this book is really deep. Really deep. Oh, goodness, I can't find. Oh, here, I think this is it. It talks about 2 levels of functions in our order on page 373, and then it goes on down to a purposeful American role will be philosophical and geopolitical, imperative for the challenges of our period. Okay, here we go. Oh, we can't do it alone. So there's got to be a buy-in from other countries in order to spread the world order, spread the order to the world. And so it's he talks about the Westphalian system, which again is where the European countries or the Roman Empire was actually split up, and how it was split up. Okay, now I'm going to go to connecting that with this from USA Today. No national processes nationality possesses, hard to accept by many. Well, and that's why it's a new type of order. It's not an order necessarily based on religion or politics. He talks about, that's the part I couldn't find. He talks about how the 30-year war, after the 30-year war, they were all willing to compromise. And the reason why they were all, oh, here it is. On page 374, he says, they overcame their obstacles because they shared the devastating experience of the 30 Years' War, and they were determined to prevent its recurrence. Now that's important, because what is the experience that the whole globe is going to go through and says we're going through right now, whether we believe it or not? What is it that the global leaders say we are experiencing together? It's climate change. They all say the entire globe is experiencing climate change. Now, I'm a Christian, and I know the Bible says that the earth is travailing. Now, they didn't use the terms we're using today, climate control, global warming, and all that. All I know is something's going on, and the Bible talks about it, and natural disasters are increasing. It doesn't explain necessarily how or what. Well, it does say what. It's talking about earthquakes and all that. Seas roaring in Luke 21, Matthew 24. But I wanted to show you this. This entire USA Today, I don't think it has a date on it. No, because it's a special edition. They had a special edition. I bought this on base. I saw that. I didn't see it in the regular stores, but I did see it on the base. And it says on page 36, look at this. If God, and this backwards to me, if God created this earth, how dare we destroy it? And so, I'm not going to read the whole article, but he talks about how there's this agency or nonprofit, I don't know if it's a nonprofit, called, where is it? I'll find it. It'll cross my eyes in a minute. Anyways, the last part of this, it says, okay, hang on, that's not it. Oh, here it is. African and Latin American churches encumbered by the polarization of the U.S. domestic politics have taken global leadership. Here it is. My wheel is stuck. Have taken global leadership. Where am I at? In encouraging environmental stewardship, or Creation One, as it is often called. So, not creation care, creation care, as it's often called. The Evangelical Lutheran Church of Tanzania, for example, is planting millions of trees on its own initiative and has made planting trees a prerequisite of confirmation. The Ethiopian Orthodox, I don't know how to say this word, Tewahedo Church is preserving most of the last remaining primary forest in North Ethiopia. And then here's the United States. In the United States, Catholics and mainline Protestant churches have long been outspoken on environmental stewardship. Most recently, evangelical churches have awakened. That's a key word in their terminology, awaken to this calling, rallying to support the Endangered Species Act in the 1990s, promoting the Evangelical Climate Initiative in 2006. That's a word you might want to group, Evangelical Climate Initiative in 2006, and incorporating strong creation care, creation care statements into Lausanne Movement's Cape Town Commitment in 2010. So basically, the churches are promoting to their members to jump on the bandwagon and actually making it a moral issue. So they've now, God will destroy those. That's true. That is true. That is true. And so I love to research sustainability, because there's going to be a time in Revelation 13 where we will not be able to buy or sell. And so I won't be able to buy electricity, won't be able to sell my house or car or whatever else to get money, and we're going to have to be self-sustaining. So those are some things to chew on if you're researching anything like the world order, religious orders, climate change. So, and then this past week, the Catholics and Lutherans were over in Sweden. And why Sweden, I don't know, but I suspect is because they were the only ones that said they were going to move to 100% sustainable energy and non-fuel, or what's the word they use? The coal and all that type of energy. Away from that. All right, my stuff is flashing. I don't know what's wrong with my stuff. I'm not sure if it's recording everything, but anyways, I'm gonna probably turn it off because my battery's getting low. But this entire special, even the advertisements are actually got to do with global change, global climate control issues. All right, guys. See you later. Take care. Bye.